Welcome, everyone, to Designing Environments for Inner Sovereignty. I am so deeply honored to hold this space with you today. And before we begin, I just want to let you know how this space works. There is no expectation to take notes, there's no requirement to participate, and there's nothing that you need to decide today. It's just a space to listen with your body, not just your mind, but your body. Let your body speak to you. If at any point that you feel overwhelmed or like emotional, distracted, it's not a problem. It's just information and an invitation for your body to try to connect with you. You're welcome to step away, turn off your camera, lie down, or just simply listen because authority stays internal here. It is not outside of you. So I invite you to take a hand and place it on your chest and place one on your belly. And just take a nice deep breath in, nice and slow. And on the exhale, just release a little bit longer than you breathed in. And just feel how it invites you back into the body. So, I want to talk about the in between. It's a place that not many hold space for because most people think the in between means something is wrong, that you're confused or you're stuck, or that you should be clearer by now and be able to make other choices. But that's not what the in between actually is. The in between is what it feels like when your old environment no longer fits and your new one hasn't been built yet. Nothing is broken here. It's just disorientation without danger. And most of us were never taught how to live in this space. The in between often sounds like quiet thoughts that you don't say out loud. I'm functioning, but I'm exhausted. My life looks fine, but I don't feel at home in it. I don't want what I had, but I also don't know what I want instead. I feel more sensitive than I used to. I can't go back, but I'm not ready to leap either. If that sounds familiar, it doesn't mean that you're lost. It means your nervous system has already moved ahead of where your mind is. And the in between carries a very specific emotional landscape. There can be grief without a clear reason, restlessness without motivation, tenderness toward things that used to be easy, resistance to goals that you once chased and you wanted, irritation with environments that you used to tolerate and may have even enjoyed. These feelings don't mean that you're regressing. It means your system is no longer willing to override itself. And that's not weakness. That's maturation. The reason the in between feels so uncomfortable is because most environments are built for certainty, for productivity, for clarity, for consistency. And the in between offers none of that. So people try to rush through it. They force their decisions. They grab onto identities. They look for answers, leaders, or systems that promise relief from the thing that feels so uncomfortable. But rushing the in between creates false clarity, choices that don't stick, identities that end up collapsing, growth that burns them out before they even begun. The in between isn't asking you to decide who to become, it's asking gentler, truer questions. What no longer fits? Where am I overriding myself? What kind of support would allow me to listen just a little bit longer? This is why effort doesn't help here. Environment does. The in between isn't a waiting room, it's a design studio. Nothing has to be finalized, and everything is offering information. And when you're supported in this space with safety, permission, and community, it's when self-trust starts growing naturally. Not because you pushed harder, but because you stopped abandoning yourself. As you hear this, I invite you to just notice your body. Do you feel relief? Do you feel recognition? Some softness? Maybe resistance? Because all of that belongs. And there's nothing that you need to do with it. Just listen. Some people in the in-between need safety and community. Some need rest in the body. Some are ready for gentle movement with support. And some like to blow up the entire foundation. All of it's fine. There's no hierarchy, only different kinds of care for different moments. And the in-between is often the moment where we learn how to choose care without shaming ourselves for not being further along. And if you're here and you feel uncertain or tender or restless, you're not behind. You're just in between environments. And that's where your inner sovereignty begins to grow. And this is actually exciting. So, why we're all here today. The core thing that I have noticed in my own life that I want to offer back to society. Why environment actually shapes sovereignty. And we were not taught this. Most people are trying to trust themselves inside environments that train them to survive. And because of that, they keep turning inward and asking questions that sound like self-reflection, but are actually self-blame. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just decide? Why do I keep burning out? Why does this feel harder than it should? If you have ever asked yourself those questions, I want you to hear this deeply in your soul. Those questions do not mean that you're broken. They mean that you're trying to grow inside an environment that was never built for who you are now. Most of us learned how to survive very early. We learned how to read the room, adapt quickly, stay productive, be useful, be quiet, keep going. Just do it. And those skills worked. They kept us safe. They helped us function to an extent. But survival environments train us to override ourselves. They reward pushing past signals. They normalize exhaustion. They treat sensitivity as a problem. They frame rest as laziness and uncertainty as failure. So when something in us starts to shift and our body starts asking for something entirely different, we don't question the environment. We question us. And that's why so many people are exhausted after doing a lot of inner work. They've changed internally, but they're still living inside structures and relationships and rhythms that were designed for an earlier version of them. And that creates friction, not because they're doing it wrong, but because their environment hasn't caught up yet. Inner sovereignty doesn't grow through willpower. It doesn't grow by trying harder or thinking more or forcing clarity. Inner sovereignty grows through the conditions in which we live in. When the environment supports honesty, self-trust doesn't have to be forced. When the environment supports rest, the nervous system can settle. When the environment supports choice, decisions become clearer. Think about it like this. If you were trying to grow a plant, you wouldn't stand over it yelling, "Why aren't you growing faster?" Or maybe you do. Doesn't help though. You look at the conditions. Is there enough light? Is the soil depleted? Is there space to expand? Is it being overwatered or not watered enough? Humans are no different. We are life. But most of us were taught to micromanage ourselves instead of redesigning the conditions in which we live in. This matters everywhere. It matters in your nervous system. If your environment is loud and rushed or unpredictable, your body will stay on high alert, no matter how much breath work or mindset work you do. It matters in our relationships. If you're in dynamics where you have to explain yourself constantly, managing others' emotions or shrinking to keep the peace, your system will stay guarded. It matters in work. If your work environment rewards urgency over sustainability or productivity over humanity. Burnout isn't a personal failure, it's an environmental outcome. It matters in creativity. Creativity doesn't flourish under pressure. It needs safety and spaciousness and trust and allowing your essence, your soul to flow through. And it matters in leadership. People don't lead well when they are bracing for impact. They lead well when they feel supported enough to be honest. This is why I say nothing here about becoming better. You don't need to optimize yourself. You don't need to fix your sensitivity. You don't need to force clarity. Because most of those are our most cherished gifts that we were taught to hide. What we need is more support. Not motivational support, not hype, but environmental support. Support that allows you to listen instead of override. Support that allows you to rest without guilt. Support that allows you to move when you're ready, not when you're pressured. This is also why the in-between feels the way that it does. When your old environment stops working and your new one hasn't been designed yet, there's a period where things feel very unclear. And you may feel more sensitive, less motivated by old goals, more aware of what drains you, and less willing to tolerate what you used to tolerate. And that's not a problem. It's your system telling you the truth, finally. And it's also not asking you to decide everything right then. It's just asking you to notice what no longer fits anymore. Where am I overriding myself? What kind of environment would let me listen a little bit longer? And these are not questions that you can answer with your head alone. They're questions that you answer by adjusting the conditions of your life. Because when the environment changes, that self-trust doesn't have to be forced. It just emerges naturally because you are no longer fighting yourself. So if you've been trying to trust yourself, but it feels like an uphill battle, I want to offer just a little reframe. Maybe you don't need more effort. Maybe you just need a different environment, one that supports your humanity, one that allows for rest and movement, one that doesn't require self-abandonment to succeed. And as we move through the rest of this workshop, I want you to listen for what your body responds to. Not what sounds good or feels aspirational or like, oh yeah, I should be doing that. No, what feels supportive right now? Like a nice deep exhale. Because inner sovereignty isn't about becoming someone new. It's about creating the conditions where you can finally be yourself and trust that who you are is and always was enough. Even when you say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, because those tend to be at the exact right time, because that's what makes us human. So, I'm going to offer a few questions, and this is just an invitation. So, if you are not wanting to participate, there is no wrong here. You don't have to answer these questions perfectly, just notice what your body feels. For your inner environment, where do you feel most like yourself? Where do you feel like you're bracing or performing in your life? In your relational environment, in relationships, where do you feel met without explaining yourself? Where do you feel like you have to manage yourself? In your structural environments, what part of your life feels unsustainable, even if it looks fine from the outside? What feels like it was designed for an earlier version of you? We're not fixing here. We're just noticing, because awareness is everything. So next, I am going to share exactly why I built the village. So in my personal journey, I had to hold myself. There was not spaces in my environment that were safe for me to be who I was. And I didn't know that because I was really good at playing the part. I was really, really good at being fine on the outside while I was drowning on the in. And a big part of it, I had heard the phrase, if you want to change, you change your environment. Change your environment, change your life. And I'd heard it, but I'm like, I can't change my environment. I am a stay-at-home mom who has 4 kids depending on her, and my husband makes the money. And then COVID hit. And it's like, what do you do? I can't change my environment. But I didn't let that stop me. So I changed my inner environment, what I allowed into my body, what I watched, I took training upon training. I took all these pieces because I wanted to feel better. And at first it wasn't for me, it was for my kids. I saw that my love giving was actually hurting my children, and I was not about to let that identity of mother be anything less than what I wanted. If I was going to be the best mom, I was going to be the best dang mom. Like, let's just be real. What I realized was to be the best mom, I needed to be the best me. And every environment that I stepped into, I ended up outgrowing, and then people told me I was wrong. And my bonus of my life was I was a codependent people pleaser. And I was really good at it. I could shape shift. But I also knew that to take back my life, I needed to take back my ability to choose. I was no longer going to let outside sources tell me what my life looked like because they couldn't tell me what I needed. Okay, well, if that's the case, how do I trust the environment? Because the environment was all information. When it's for you, it feels like a breath of fresh air. Our life story, our chaos, my chaos, definitely, it leads you exactly where you need to go. And we're told by the in between that there's something wrong with us, but it's our body inviting us to see, hey, you're holding on to something that no longer serves you. That's why the chaos and the suffering is there. So then you can get curious with your own life and be able to navigate what you're ready to release, what new places you're ready to step into. And I didn't have environments I could do that in. And that's why I created them. Because I look out into the world and I see the beauty inside the humans that I'm surrounded by, even as they're in pain, even as they are hurt humans who are still choosing to hurt others. And it sucks and it hurts my heart. And I'm like, okay, what can I do about it? I can speak my truth, which is knowing and trusting that the chaos is there to point us in a direction, and I don't have to like it to accept it and use it for me. So, how do I use the chaos of life for me right now? I design environments where our humanity is safe again. And I do that in the individual. And let that be enough to ripple outward. Because all of us are just trying to feel safe. And we're just not. But safety is an inside job first. If we can feel safe on the inside, we can handle the chaos that comes on the outside. And we don't have to like it, but we can use it and change it without doing more freaking harm to people, which is the silliest thing ever. So, the village of unapologetic living is a 4-part structure, and it's all information. And I'm going to share, let your body choose what resonates, and if it doesn't, just know that's okay too. There is no right place to be. The Village Foundation is everything. It exists for safety and community. Being human together without being fixed, coached, or managed. Some people speak a lot, some people just listen. Both are welcome. This space exists so no one has to navigate life alone any freaking more, unless they choose to. And then you have the nursery, which is for rest and regulation. It's for the people who are tired of pushing and healing and performing growth. There's no activation here. There's no challenging, no expectations. It's just gentle language and repetition and permission so the body can finally remember what safety feels like inside. That's a very self-led space. I am very intentional in there that you are your own inner authority and that you can do this. In the greenhouse, it's for intentional growth, but it's still growth that moves at the pace of the body. So it's for the people who are ready for movement and they want support as life responds to their intention setting. So they learn to read chaos without panicking. They can stay grounded while things start to shift. And they can trust themselves in motion. Because what I have discovered in the inner healing spaces is when we set intention, we're inviting chaos to come in and do the clearing, and then we sit there and go, well, what did I do wrong? Because no one told us that that's how it works. There is no wrong here. You asked for this information to come in, you just didn't have the language of understanding how to receive it. So we do this in community in the greenhouse. And then we have the inner sovereign circle. This is my jam. This is for my Pluto and Scorpio type people, the people who like to do it for the story, blow shit up. It's fine. Those for they're devoted to living fully, freely, and unapologetically as fuck. It's not about safety because the safety's already been built right here. We're living full out. We're it's it's just deep witnessing for when that life gets real and when the doubt resurfaces here and there because it will. As the old identities start to fall away and then things start moving fast, you're reminded in this space that no one here is the authority over anyone else and that you can do hard things and you've got this and you're there and you're witnessed, but you're also getting to live fully because that is the magic when we can accept our humanity again. We didn't come here to live a calm, peaceful life all the time. We came here to feel really freaking deeply. And we can do that without harming others. That's my truth. And then there is one more space that is not inside the village, but it is my gift. The thing that I have discovered I'm really good at, and I really enjoy it. And that's environment architecture for myself and for others. So it's the private work that I do, not doing this as an invitation. I'm not sharing to say like anyone needs this. It's just transparency of what gifts I hold. Because when you see me claim my gifts, it frees you to also claim your own. Because that's also what we're here for, is to find our magic and feel safe enough to share it. And release the things that make us think that we're not. So for very small number of individuals and organizations, I offer one-to-one environment architecture work. And what that looks like is 6 months of designing the rhythms, the structures, the communication, and the support systems so that a life or organization can actually hold who it's becoming. This work exists outside the community, but it also includes it because change is not meant to happen in isolation. And there's no urgency. There's no application process or pressure. I shouldn't say process. There's no application pressure. It's just if your body registers the curiosity, that's enough information for today. I just share it so you also see another human standing in their power, their sovereignty, because that's what I'm doing as I share this work. Not to tell other people they need it, because who the hell am I to tell anyone what they need for their life? It's not what I'm here for, and it really ticked me off when people did it to me, so I'm not going to sit here and do it to others. But I will hold space for those that feel it, that feel the openness, feel the call to walk together in this life, because that's what I like to do. So now I'd like to pause just for a minute Because when we start talking about environment instead of effort, something usually shifts. Sometimes there's relief, but sometimes there's grief. And sometimes there's just a quiet moment of recognition. Oh, that's why this has been so hard. I just want to acknowledge that because it can feel like we've lost some time, or there can be some pain as to why didn't anyone tell me, or why didn't I know? We don't know until we're meant to know, and that's okay. We can walk together from here. There's no lost time, and you are right on time with your life and with your story. So nothing needs to be done with that. Just hold it. Just witness. Witness your grief. Let it flow if it needs to. And remember that understanding this intellectually is one thing, but being supported while you live it is another. And that's why I created these spaces. Because I had to learn how to hold myself, and I'm really good at it, and I'm so grateful. But because I've walked it, I want others to be able to have that space held for them and create what I didn't have. Just for those looking. So these are just different ways of support that you can respond to from your body if they are called, if you're called. And you don't need to want any of this. You don't need to decide today. You don't need to move faster than your body trusts. If your body feels relief, that's information. Curiosity, that's information. Neutrality, that's information. A clear no, that's wisdom. This ecosystem is designed so authority always stays with you. Nothing here asks you to ever give it away. So everything that I have shared today exists for one reason: to help people stop fighting themselves and start shaping environments that support their humanity. Because my belief is that everything on the outside of us is a reflection of our internal environment. And when I look at the outside environments of others right now, there's a whole lot of fighting. So if I can help others stop fighting themselves on the inside, I believe that that will do its part to help stop the fighting on the outside. And that is my mission. So remember, there's no hierarchy here. I do not believe in that. We are all one and we are walking each other home as we walk ourselves home. So take what your body recognized as true and leave the rest, because that is how inner sovereignty grows. And remember that choice doesn't come from the mind alone. It comes from inner safety. If nothing felt like a yes right now, that doesn't mean that you're closed. It just means that you're listening. And that's your inner sovereignty. You don't have to decide anything. You don't need to want anything, and you do not need to move faster than what your body feels is safe. Just let things settle. It's not about convincing you. It's about helping you hear yourself again. So I thank each and every one of you for showing up as you are, sitting in this space, sharing safety and community with me. And I send you love, and I'm here if you need anything. I'm also here if you don't. And that's the beauty of letting humanity be what it is. So I'm going to open the space for questions, any comments, and just send you off with love if you are all done. Mwah! All right, guys, what do you think?